The palace doors slammed open. Rain and thunder rushed into the royal hall. A lone prince stepped through the storm. His armor was cracked from war. Mud stained his boots. A scar ran fresh across his cheek. For 3 years, the kingdom had believed Prince Lucian was dead. But now he stood alive beneath the chandeliers. And the first thing he saw was his wife standing beside his younger brother, Queen Elena, her hand resting in Prince Adrian's. The hall went silent. No music, no whispers, not even breath, because every noble in that room knew the dead had just returned. Lucian's eyes rose slowly. His brother was wearing the royal white cloak, the one reserved for the king's blood heir, and on Elena's finger still sat the silver ring Lucian had placed there before marching to war. For one shattered moment, no one moved. Then Elena's lips parted. Lucian. The way she said his name almost sounded like pain. But Lucian's gaze stayed fixed on Adrian. His younger brother stepped forward. Not with joy, not with relief, with fear. That was when Lucian understood. This was no mourning. This was replacement. He had been erased. Before we uncover why his own brother married his wife, kindly subscribe and join us on the road to 1,000 subscribers next month. Your support truly helps us grow and bring more emotional royal stories like this. Lucian's hand tightened around the broken sword at his side. What have you done? Thunder shook the windows. Adrian swallowed hard. It isn't what you think. But Elena's tears had already betrayed the truth. 3 years earlier, Lucian had ridden east with 10,000 men to defend the kingdom from the Northern Empire. He left as the people's prince, beloved, respected, certain he would return. Before leaving, he kissed Elena's forehead beneath the palace balcony. Wait for me. She had smiled through tears. Always. But war is a cruel thief. The battle at Black Hollow lasted 7 days. Fire swallowed the fields. Arrows darkened the sky. Men vanished beneath mud and blood. On the final night, Lucian led the last charge himself. He cut through enemy lines and reached the general's tent. That was where the betrayal began. The enemy commander already knew his name, already knew his strategy, already knew the exact route of his assault. Someone from the palace had sold him. Steel crashed in the dark. Lucian fought like a storm, but an explosion tore through the trench wall. The earth collapsed beneath him. His men believed he had been buried alive. The kingdom received only his broken crest, and so they mourned him. Back in the palace, Adrian's voice shook. We buried what they brought home. Lucian stared at him. My crest is not my body. Elena stepped forward now, her white gown trembling. We thought you were gone. Lucian's face hardened. And so you married him. The pain in her eyes deepened. But Adrian answered first. The council demanded it. That made the room stir. Now the real truth began. After Lucian's supposed death, the old king fell gravely ill. The kingdom stood on the edge of rebellion. Nobles feared invasion. The people demanded stability. The throne needed an heirline. The council forced Elena into a royal union with Adrian. Not for love, for peace. Lucian laughed once. Cold. Empty. So while I bled in foreign soil, my brother took my place. Adrian stepped closer. I took your burden. That line changed everything. Lucian's eyes narrowed. What does that mean? Adrian looked toward Elena, then toward the throne. And for the first time, guilt overtook fear. Because this had never truly been about marriage. It was about the crown. The old king had died 6 months after Lucian's disappearance. With no confirmed body and the kingdom collapsing, the council named Adrian regent until Elena's future child could inherit. Lucian froze. Child. Elena's tears spilled. The hall vanished around him. Your daughter, she whispered. Lucian's breath stopped. For 3 years he survived war, prison, and exile on one thought. Coming home to Elena. Now home had a child he had never seen. Where is she? A small movement came from the staircase above. A little girl no older than 2 stood there in a silver night robe. Golden hair. Lucian's eyes. Elena's face. The world inside him cracked. His daughter stared at the stranger in shattered armor. The hall no longer mattered. Neither did Adrian. Not the crown, not the betrayal, not the years stolen. Only her. Lucian dropped his sword. Slowly, he crossed the room. The child did not run. She only looked at Elena, then back at him. "Who is he?" she whispered. Elena's voice broke. "He is your father." Lucian knelt. For the first time since the war, the prince who survived death trembled. Tiny fingers touched the scar on his cheek. And in that moment, revenge lost its grip. Only love remained. But Adrian saw it too, and that made him afraid. Because love gives a man something greater than revenge, something to protect. Suddenly, the council doors burst open. Lord Marrow, the chief royal advisor, entered with armed guards. At once Lucian understood. This had all been engineered. The forged war route, the false death report, the pressure to remarry, the rush to secure succession. Marrow had used Adrian as a shield, used Elena as a symbol, used the kingdom's grief to seize real power behind the throne. He smiled. The dead should stay buried. Guards surrounded the hall. Adrian turned in horror. "You lied to us." Marrow's expression stayed calm. "I saved the kingdom." Lucian rose slowly. No rage, no shouting, only purpose. He stepped in front of Elena and his daughter. Then Adrian moved beside him, brother beside brother. At last, because betrayal by grief is not the same as betrayal by evil. Steel flashed. The guards charged. Lucian and Adrian fought back to back beneath the royal banners. One for the kingdom, one for the family they almost destroyed. The hall exploded into battle. Nobles fled. Glass shattered. Rain hammered the windows. Lucian cut through the first line. Adrian disarmed the second. Together they drove Marrow toward the throne steps. The advisor stumbled. For the first time, power left his face. Lucian's blade stopped at his throat. "Who sold me to the enemy?" Marrow smiled through blood. "The old king." Silence. Even thunder seemed to stop. The dying king had feared Lucian's popularity, feared the people loved the prince more than the throne itself. So he sent him to die. Adrian staggered backward. Elena covered her mouth. The kingdom's greatest betrayal had begun with its own king. Lucian lowered his sword. Because the real enemy was already dead. Marrow was seized. The corrupt council shattered. The kingdom finally saw the truth. At dawn, the rain ended. The people gathered in the courtyard. They did not cheer for war. They did not cheer for power. They cheered because truth had returned. Lucian stood on the palace balcony with Elena on one side, Adrian on the other, and his daughter in his arms. The prince who went to war had returned. Not for revenge, for his family, for truth, for the kingdom stolen from him. And from that night forward, one legend spread across the realm. The most dangerous prince in the world is the one who comes home to find his life already stolen. If this story hit you emotionally, kindly subscribe and help us reach 1,000 subscribers next month. You being here truly means everything to this journey.